What's up? Welcome to the Gooner channel. Day 4 of the summer transfer window. Still nobody in. Still no nearer to knowing if it's Benjamin Šeško or Victor Gyökeres, and I'm sure you have your opinions on which is best. But I'm not going to talk about that today. We're not talking about forwards at all. In fact, I want you to cast your mind back to January. Yes, that horrifying transfer window where we were all desperate for news of anyone that might come in to add some depth to our badly depleted forward line. When out of nowhere, Sami Mokbel of the Daily Mail breaks the story that Martín Zubimendi, a player that we've been chasing for years, has agreed to join Arsenal. Not in January, but in summer, which is unusual. There was positivity around Zubimendi coming in, but it wasn't excitement because we desperately needed somebody up front. The forward positions is where we were painfully short. Defensive midfield, we've kind of got cover. After all, we'd sort of given up on Zubimendi in the summer and gone for his midfield partner, Mikel Arteta, who we were now having to play up front because we were so painfully short of any forward players. So finding out that 6 months' time you're going to get a, admittedly, look, really good player. I haven't seen that much of Zubimendi. I kind of went off him after one transfer window after another where he just didn't seem to be interested in coming to Arsenal. And I have to say, though, watching him come on to replace Rodri in the Euros final against England, he did look a player. He does look good. He's good at beating the press. He's lots of things about his game really good. So I was pleasantly surprised that he decided to join us. And in the months that follow, it's been a story that's kind of bubbled under and people have been saying he's turned down Real Madrid and Barcelona. He doesn't want to go to Man City. He's decided he wants to come to Arsenal. So good. Of course, the January transfer window ended up in huge disappointment. We did slightly better than I think any of us were expecting, even with the threadbare forward line. But we never really recaptured any of the ground we'd lost to Liverpool in the first half of the season. And one of the reasons for that, we all felt, was no one had come in as a striker. So the cavalry hadn't arrived. Our season went a bit low. The summer transfer window was something that we all were looking forward to. Rumours that we might spend 200, 300 million. We all know we need players. And of course, every big name has been linked at some point or other with Arsenal. And this, at the end of what is a terrible season, it made even worse by the fact that Spurs actually won a trophy. That's how bad that season went. And then, well, at least we've got the summer transfer window to look forward to. On the eve of the transfer window, one of the things everyone was talking about was Martín Zubimendi would be coming, and it was even reported on the day of the transfer window opening that he was actually going to be in England to do a medical. He then posted pictures of himself on the beach, so it was quite obvious he wasn't going to be in England doing a medical, but everyone, Sami Mokbel, had his story supported by Fabrizio Romano. It doesn't get more gospel than that. He'd given it an here we go. Zubimendi's definitely coming, nothing to worry about. He's going to do the medical some point. It's not so urgent anyway. And then the story started coming out that actually one of the reasons he wasn't coming to do his medical straight away is because Real Sociedad had actually asked if the deal could be put back a little bit. But once again, all personal terms have been agreed with the player. Arsenal were going to be triggering the release clause. Everything was done and dusted. And I didn't think much more of it. I thought it was brave of Sami Mokbel to put his neck on the line in January and say definitely coming. But when Fabrizio Romano had confirmed it, I thought, wow, he really did get a scoop. He must be close to... But the thing is, we all know transfers, right? We all know this is a player. Zubimendi is a player we've been chasing for ages. It looked like we were signing, then he decided not to come. And as I said, we looked like we'd given up on him when we went for Mikel Arteta. And Liverpool decided to swoop in. So I was a bit sort of... I wasn't necessarily fully surprised when he jilted them at the altar as well. This is a player who has taken several clubs up the aisle only to run away at the last minute. And I don't hate that about him. Look, I get it. He's playing for the team he played for as a boy. It's his local club. I get it. Maybe he doesn't want to leave Sociedad. And maybe if it'd been left at that. Maybe if nothing had been said... Okay, he's printed the pictures of himself. Okay, he's published pictures of himself on the beach. It's a little bit cheeky. Thumbing his nose a little bit at the press who's saying that he's coming to do a medical. Oh, I mean, as Arsenal fans, we are a little bit on top, aren't we? Like, we're watching out to see where a player is, when he's arriving at the airport, following the flight, all of that stuff. Kind of unnecessary. For me, once he's holding up the shirt, then it's done. Till then, there's many a slip twixt cup and lip. But it was a little bit cheeky of him to print the pictures of the beach. But then he gave an interview to Radio Nacional de España, in which he actually said he deliberately posted the pictures of him on a beach because he said, many times I wake up in the morning and read things I didn't know I'd done. Talking about how the press are always saying things. And when asked if there was a chance he might stay at Real Sociedad, he actually says, of course there are options, but it's true that it seems like it's going to be a different long summer and I don't know how it will end. So hardly the kind of thing you would expect him to say if the deal to Arsenal was done and dusted. Then asked about speculation linking him to Xabi Alonso, and he says, I've always said that he was my idol, and for me it was lucky that he was able to coach me in the reserve team in a very important year. The following year I was already in the first team. Well, I don't like to talk about these hypotheses. I prefer to talk about the present because I'm with the national team. Obviously it's an important Nations League game for Spain. But these are not the words of a person who has definitely decided to join Arsenal. And I'm kind of in a place I've been in for a while with Martín Zubimendi. It's taken the luster off. It's made me less interested in signing him as a player. Once again, if we don't sign Martín Zubimendi, we're not short of covering the defensive midfield positions. Miles Lewis-Skelly could play there. Zinchenko could play there. Marino could play there. Thomas Partey may extend. He may go to Barcelona. We don't know yet. But all of that said, we still have Declan Rice. I'm not necessarily worried about the defensive midfield position, but I can acknowledge that he would really help us. If a player really doesn't want to come to your team, don't pull out all the stops. You shouldn't necessarily give this much attention to any one player. If a player is going to mess you around like this, it's going to be harder to fall in love with him if he puts the Arsenal shirt on. I've lived through a few signings where they didn't really want to be there. I always think of Torreira. Just never settled in London, didn't want to be there, and it doesn't work out. It can't work out. Ultimately, the player has to want to be there. And I would leave it, and I think Arteta, speaking to Ian Wright in 2020, said the same thing.
Once you get it to where you want it to be, do you think it's an easier sell to players that we want to come to this club because we know how great our club is? You know, I'm not even just saying it just because I love the club so much.
The moment we mention Arsenal, Ian, you know what it means around the world. Everybody wants to come here and we have a really clear idea of what we are. You know, it doesn't need much convincing. And if they do, for me, it's not a good starting point. If I have to convince a player to stay or to join us to Arsenal, I am a little...
Yeah.
You know, it holds me back a little. It has to be, what do I have to do? I want to play for that club. It represents exactly the values, the style of play that I want. That's the kind of emotion that I want to hear at the start. And the same with the players that are here. What's your feelings? What the thing that you have towards the club? That's what really interests me.
So, given that Zubimendi does seem to be jerking us around a little bit again, is it time that we consider other options and focus on the forward players? We definitely need forward players, left wingers, two strikers, maybe some cover for Bukayo Saka. We'd get by without a defensive midfielder, wouldn't we? Let me know in the comments what you think. But at this point, it's hard not to feel that this transfer is in some sort of jeopardy. And if it is because he hasn't decided yet, then you know what? Don't need you. I will, of course, keep you updated the minute something concrete happens. But I do just want to say, for all the people talking about why haven't we done our business early, it is only the 4th of June. The transfer window doesn't typically open till the middle of June. And I would say it's okay for us to be negotiating, finalising deals. If we get to the middle of July and there's no news, then I think we can start panicking. Until then, enjoy some sunshine. It's beautiful weather at the moment. And apart from anything, even if we sign someone, you know everyone's on the beach. There's no games to play. So we can all relax a little bit, have a sangria and stay sanguine. If anything else happens, there will be breaking news on this channel. I don't think it's going to happen today. So I'm going to put my feet up and watch some TV with the family. And until I see you again, be lucky. Lots of love.